Hello, everybody, and welcome back to StarCraft Underground, our second paid tournament. Got a great matchup for you today. Here in the bottom left, as our green Terran, WolFix, and up here in the top right, as our yellow Protoss, none other than Earob. Today's match going to be taking place in round 3 of this tournament. This is our first matchup of round 3. Exciting. Moving on in the tournament, there will be 4 matchups here in round 3. That we will get all of these cast eventually for you. So you'll be able to see every single one of these matches for yourselves right here on this channel. This first match taking place on match point, as always, with a natural on the same level outside the main. A third beyond that with the high ground, blocking out the 4th in each corner. There is one central base location on both sides of the map, easily accessible by flying outside of the main here. Otherwise, you gotta walk all the way around. Interesting points on this map are the choke points right here into the main from the natural, and the ramp right here, which causes a lot of congestion right here with pathing issues, trying to walk out from your natural here. So, a couple good choke points, a couple good attack points, attacking the 3rd from up here on the high ground. We've seen that a lot this tournament. I haven't seen many people push up through this ramp right here. Mainly, people attack from this high ground and kind of push down in there, so we'll kind of see what these players decide to do, what kind of routes they decide to take, what builds they go. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Earob for me, in the meantime, while these guys are leveling up, what have you, Earob for me is kind of the unknown. So far in this tournament, I have only seen one match from Earob. We've only cast one with him, and it was in round 2. Earob did not take part in round 1. Only 4 players took part in round 1, and that was Firetip and GeForce Tesla. And LML, let me see, and Mebius. Those were the only 4 players to take part in round 1 of the winner's bracket. So Earob, starting in round 2, got 1 victory over Indu, who forfeited the rest of the match. And so as of now, we have only seen Earob play 1 singular match of Brood War. Whereas the tried and true WolFix, our grand champion from the first paid StarCraft Underground tournament, starting in round 2 of this tournament, where he faced off against none other than Firetip, who won their first matchup in round 1 with a 2-0 victory over GeForce, moved on to face WolFix, and WolFix 2-0's Firetip in round 1 to get here to round 2 rather, to get here to round 3. So both players, so far, undefeated as of yet, haven't lost a single match. WolFix has played 2. Earob has played 1. I am very curious to see what kind of builds we see Earob going for, and what's got to be one of the most challenging matchups in this tournament, facing none other than the grand champion from tournament number 1. Looks like we're going to have a Goon opener here. I don't see a single Zealot on the battlefield right now for Earob. No Zealots. Going to be going straight into Goons. We do see the Goon attack range being researched right now. So likely going to try to do some harassment with these Goons early on. Get a Nexus around 23 population mark. But here we see a little bit of a move out right now. Oh, there was a Goon on the battlefield already. There he is. And another one there. Okay. So I was a little behind on the Goons. That guy just came out there. Looks like we're going to have a pylon down here. Wonder if we're going to see a forge here with some photon cannons like we do against Zerg. But anyway, we've got WolFix going to be moving out along the map here with a Vulture. This is something we see good Terran players doing very well. Able to micro their Vultures out. And this is how good Terran players gain map vision. By microing these Vultures around the battlefield, kind of using them as scouts. They get Vulture upgrade speed, which enables them to just really zip around. We'll likely see mines. Yeah, there it goes. Mine being researched right now, so mines we will start to see mines being placed around the battlefield here to start giving WolFix early signs of any type of army move out from Earob. Meanwhile, Earob doing a good job now of kind of locking down their natural here. You see we've got a Goon on the ramp right here, and then a Goon up here on the high ground, which is standing in a really awkward spot. I've never seen such small map vision from a unit. He must be standing right on the threshold of that. That is kind of crazy. Okay, so robotics facility coming online, another gateway, and the Templar archives coming down in the back here. Let's see what happens with that. Meanwhile, for WolFix, we've got another factory being built. Where did the racks go? Okay, we're floating the racks out here, just outside the mineral line right here. Give us any early warnings of any type of shuttle drop. I don't see anything that would indicate Reavers, but it does look like we might see a DT drop possibly, and this racks right here is exactly what WolFix will be looking for to respawn. If he sees a shuttle move in right here, that should give him a little time to be able to pull these SCVs up to a bunker or back into the main to help defend against this. Looks like WolFix going to be going for a mech build this time around. We see the armory going down right now. We're not producing any bio right now with the racks being floated around like that. Only bio we have are these Marines currently on the battlefield right now, and there we have some mines starting to be placed around the battlefield, and the DT is going to be moving across now in the shuttle. It is going to be a DT drop, or an attempt at a DT drop, but WolFix using the vultures very well. Already scouted this out. Going to have a lot of early warning now, seeing this shuttle coming across the battlefield. And while they don't know what is in the shuttle, they do know that some shenanigans are going to be occurring here. We likely see the Marines get loaded up into the bunker right here, and possibly the SCVs get pulled up that direction. Let's see. No SCVs get pulled, though, and the DTs get dropped into the mineral line. That's bad. They're going to target the Marines specifically, and there we go. A little late on the reaction right there from WolFix. Oh, no, the DT in the main right now. This is not good. Good thing the eBay was done, though. We do have a missile turret inside the main here, now by the gas. And now we're going to be rushing to get missile turrets up around the base for detection. It gets done just in time here. The vulture's going to be starting to pound down these DTs now. There we go. DTs go down. All in all, not a whole lot lost there. So good timing from WolFix's build order right there, getting the eBay up just in time to stop that DT drop. Did lose a couple things to them, but all in all, not too much. We've got mines now on the battlefield. Out here, this is going to be tracking army movement of Earob or WolFix now. With the observer, though, Earob going to be able to see these mines. Should be able to knock them down with the goons. Yep, we do see that. And this DT, though, unknown here. This DT is going to go down to mines. So Earob doing a good job clearing out the bottom, but didn't think to check the top right there. And because of that, loses the DT who was trying to make their way across the battlefield. Now we've got vultures coming around here to scout. Likely going to come up here on this top ramp just to look, check for Earob's army. Does see a little bit of goon action there. Likely going to check this bottom right here. We've got a few mines up here. Vulture going to be keeping an eye on the expansion up that way to kind of see where the Protoss player goes. We've got a scan going down right now for WolFix. Looks like he's scanning the main right here to check what kind of tech Earob's going for. And right now we just see 4 gateways being warped in. And the Arbiter Tribunal. Where is that at? Okay, just upside the north side of the starport there. That would have been scouted there with the scan by WolFix. So WolFix going to be aware of that. And because of that, we've got Charon boosters for the Goliaths, or Charon boosters, however you guys say that, being upgraded right now. That's just about done. Vehicle weapons being researched. More tanks in production. Meanwhile for Earob, more gateways. And here comes the Arbiter. Arbiter's on the way. We've got 4 goons in production right now. Another observer. Looks like these small little group right here are going to be trying to clear out any mines across the main battlefield, the main line, I guess. Main walkway here. This is through this particular part of the map right here is where we see a lot of the armies going back and forth, just walking this line. So kind of important for Earob to make sure that this is cleared of any mines or any type of big army move out they want to do. Look here in the bottom right, we still have WolFix keeping an eye on these expansions right now. Going to be making sure the Protoss isn't trying to go for a 4th base, and when they do, he is going to be alerted to that. We do see a little bit of a move out right now. This Vulture going to discover this probe, and should be able to knock this probe down, no problem. There we go. Earob going to be moving out on that with 3 goons and an observer. Seeing that Vulture is extremely low. Going to have no problem clearing out that Vulture. Here we have an eBay floating around down here. Gonna be trying to keep map vision of the main right here. Yeah, this vulture is definitely gonna go down very quickly here. Yep, vulture down. We've got one gonna be keeping an eye on this base. I'd like to see if WolFix is gonna throw a mine down here and keep going. It looks like Earob trying to get some observers in over here into WolFix's base for scouting, but well, since that E-base come up and the DT drop, now WolFix being very persistent about making sure to put down missile turrets all over the place. And while I would normally say this eBay needs to be a little bit further this way, with the vulture right here to gain map vision, there's really no need for him to push this out so far. Keeping it a little bit more indoors like that allows him to be able to defend this with Goliaths if something were to come in here and start attacking it. Like Sayers or something to that effect. Good number of goons going on right now for Earob. Both players doing a good job macroing right now. We see a lot of gateways. 8, coming up to 8 gateways right now for Earob. And I am curious to see where the Arbiter is going to go. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only, the Arbiter. Will we see a recall this game? That is the question. Got photon cannons going down now. And it looks like Earob able to take the 4th down here. Meanwhile, WolFix still on 3 base. And this is the type of attacks that I'm used to seeing right now on this particular map. We see, a lot of the times we do see this from the Protoss. They come up here on this high ground, and they will set up their army, and before you know it, this base goes bye-bye. However, very large number of tanks right now here for WolFix. I don't if these tanks were moved up here and all in siege mode, this army is not going to go anywhere against this defense. Especially with the missile turret right here. Keeping an eye on everything. And here comes more, though. So Earob getting a lot of reinforcements right now. Going to be building up this army. Earob doing a good job macroing right now. Up to 4 base. I like the look of the base. We see ground weapons being researched. Recall going to be being researched right now for the Arbiter. 3 Zealots in production. Another Arbiter. Meanwhile, for WolFix, we've got vehicle plating being researched. That is, vehicle armor is what that is, for those who don't know. We've got 6 vultures in production, and all those just getting done. We see a bunch get queued more, and here we go. Might see a little bit of a push now from Earob. The Arbiter being drawn down. And WolFix knows something's up. He's getting the vultures in position here. They're going to be in the front line, keeping the tank safe here. And here we go. A bit of a move out now with the Dragoons. Going to be pushing down the battlefield. We see the siege tanks going up right now. This is going to be massive shots here from the siege tanks. Arbiter goes down in the back line due to the missile turrets. And the vultures having a hard time getting up here, getting in the way. A lot of zealots dropping right now. Siege tanks starting to drop down, though, as well. We had the Arbiter drop and freeze a couple of mech units there, but all in all, siege tanks still doing work. And it looks like this is going to be able to be defended now. For WolFix. WolFix able to hold. Loses a couple buildings, loses a good amount of siege tanks. All in all, a pretty similar trade right there. Back and forth. Pretty good attack, though. We did lose the Arbiter. We can see 6 Zealots being produced right now, though. We've already got another Arbiter on the battlefield. Meanwhile, we see Fleet Beacon coming up for Earob right now. Interesting. I wonder if we will see carriers. Interesting, interesting. Air weapons being researched right now. And look like Earob's going to try to regroup here in the middle of the battlefield, but I don't know that WolFix is going to give him time. Here come the Vultures, going to be pressing the issue now. We're going to need to see a scan come down here. We don't have a science vessel just yet. There it is. There's a scan. Going to be revealing the rest of that army. We see the control tower being attached right now to the starport for WolFix. I'm curious to see if we're going to see a science vessel because of the Arbiters. And here we go. 2 carriers in production right now. Okay, WolFix doing a good job microing these Vultures right now. Going to be laying down a lot of mines on the flank right here. So anytime you see Terran players do this, you know they're going to go for a little bit of a push. And this is their way of protecting their flank as their main army is advancing. Now this army tries, if anything tries to move back through here, we see these Vultures having a really hard time microing right here through here. This is exactly what I'm talking about with this battlefield being a little awkward. Coming up and down these ramps right here. Look how bad these guys are freaking out right now. So instead, these guys get a little bit split up. So this push not going to be as powerful as it would had we been able to micro these guys out. With good amount of siege tanks right here, though. This is a pretty dangerous push right now from WolFix. These siege tanks going to be set up right here. Going to be able to shell down the natural of Earob. All in all, Earob's still going to be on 3 bases, though, even if this one does go down completely. Recall for some zealots right there to get them on top of the tanks. And the tanks shell themselves down. This is going to force siege mode out, though. Tank's going to go into just regular mode, whatever you want to call that. Only long enough down to take the zealots down, though. They do go down. Re-siege back up. So WolFix getting themselves dug in right here. We're going to see these bolters try to push up the ramp right here. Keep map vision right here to let us be able to shoot upwards onto this. But now we have the carriers going to be building up some interceptors up here. We have a few Goliaths, but this, all in all, this is not going to be enough to stop a few carriers from harassing these siege tanks down. Another carrier in production. We've got 6 vultures being produced back home for WolFix. A few more tanks, another control center, gas, and another machine shop. And here we go. WolFix is going to be aware of the carriers now. We see the interceptors going to be flying around. They're going to start whittling down these tanks. And this push going to be coming to a stall right here. But meanwhile, another push down here on the bottom side on the 3rd base. We've got a massive rush of vultures coming in here, going to be harassing the probes. The goons move down to intercept, but we've got siege tanks already set up on the ramp right now, and they're going to start shelling these goons like crazy. Vultures this time doing a good job getting in front of the siege tanks, stopping the zealots from getting on top of the tanks. And all in all, this is going to be a successful push right now from WolFix. Meanwhile, the top push into the natural got cleaned up by the carriers, and now they're coming down here. They're going to start working on these siege tanks. There's no air defense right here from WolFix, so carriers going to be cleaning up these siege tanks once again. WolFix still, though, putting on some damage right now, stopping. This is, we see anytime he's dealing damage like this, this is stopping mineral time from Earob. A lot of minerals right here. That's 2 mineral bases being lost right now. We see the main base just about completely out. No base set up at the 4th, so really only 1 healthy mining base right now with the loss of both of these. We may start to see the impact of that on Eco as this attack continues. We've got vehicles, vehicle weapons, and armor being researched right now. 4 Goliaths in production. We're going to see a little bit of a switch over, I would guess. Less vultures, more Goliaths. So likely going to see Goliath and siege tank now from WolFix. Now that the... Yeah, and that is exactly what we do see. Goliath and siege tank now that we know the carriers are on the battlefield. The vultures do a good job stopping the zealots. Getting up on top of the... Oh my gosh. What a massive mine right there with the goon. That was crazy. That just took out so many probes at once right there. That was insane. I'd seen that just in time. My gosh. Big mineral field right here. So now this is going to be detrimental for Earob. The Eco is going to be taking a hard hit. The only healthy mining base just got exploded with spider mines. Earob going to be looking to deal some damage to themselves, though. But here come the Goliaths. Let's see how good these Goliaths are going to stack up against all of these carriers. Earob going to be trying to move in the zealots right now to intercept these Goliaths, keep them off the carriers while they can try to get away. Looks like we're going to lose a carrier, though. 1 carrier down. A little bit of an SCV transfer right here. Coming up into the 4th base. We must have mined out one of the bases. We'll take a look at that after we get done dealing with all this shenanigans here. So we have 5 carriers here. 8 Goliaths. We saw a vulture come through there and laid down a spider mine right there that was able to take out that dragoon who tried to move up the ramp here. Lost 1 Goliath so far. Still on the same number of carriers. Earob doing a good job microing the carriers right now. But I am concerned, the longer these carriers stay in a fight like this, the less interceptors there are. So the longer they stay in, the less damage they do. Unless you're able to just keep these guys pumping out interceptors left and right, eventually you do have to see a little bit of a withdrawal right here while they're queuing back up interceptors. And yeah, when we click on them individually, you see what I'm talking about. We've got 4 interceptors. That one not doing too bad, but look at this guy. Maxed out on their interceptors. So they're trying to replenish right now. So you have to see a little bit of a withdrawal while they replenish their interceptors. A lot going on right now for Earob. We see more Goliaths in production. A Wraith coming online with Cloak. Another starport being built. This time, now both players out of minerals at the main. So because of that, we see WolFix going to be going for the exposed fourth down here. A lot of mines right now on this part of the battlefield. And this is going to be a little bit of a headache right now for Earob, trying to move down and help out with this only healthy mineral patch that they have. Well, I say that, but these other two are starting to come back online a little bit right here. But the natural kind of starting to get a little low now for Earob. Okay, so eventually the carrier's going to make their way down here. They're going to be able to clean up this last siege tank. There it is. They hear the shot. This looks like dangerous right now. This is a dangerous army right now. A lot of Goliaths right here. Not a lot of siege tanks. But that's definitely going to be able to take care of these carriers if they can get on top of them. These goons going to be moving down here to this exposed third. We see the SCV transfer come down at the same time. Oh no! Our WolFix going to have to respond to that. We do see the immediate pull right now. So looks like we're going to have a battle brewing on our hands right here for this fourth base. The Interceptor's coming in. They're going to be taking down the SCVs pretty quickly. And instead of taking down the rest of these SCVs, looks like they're going to be forced to engage on this army. A lot of Interceptors flying around the battlefield right now. And look at all these Goliath missiles. My goodness. This is just what you love to see. All these Interceptors flying everywhere. Missiles flying everywhere. What an interesting fight. The SCV's just kind of hanging out, trying to keep the command center built. And Earob throws in the GG. All right. That was kind of unexpected. I guess with the all-in on the carriers right there, seeing what WolFix has going on with all the Goliaths right there, I guess Earob maybe just felt like their eco was too far behind and they didn't quite have the army to fight against that. That's got to be what happened there. Though, great game, though, from both players. I love to see that. Love to see the carrier play. I wish that they could do a little bit better. That's only the second time so far in this tournament. Got to see the carriers. Before we get into match number 2, let's go ahead and take a look at the tournament bracket. So here we go. We're at the top of round 3 here. WolFix versus Earob. Great matchup so far. Love to see this one. Winner of this one going to be going on into the top bracket of the winner's bracket of round 4. And the loser of this one is going to be dropping down into the loser's round 3 bracket. So with that, let's go ahead and get into match 2. All right, here we go. Let's get into match 2. Okay, looks like we have Earob down here in the bottom left as our yellow-orange Protoss. And up here in the top left, WolFix as our pink. I think that's pink. Looks pink. We're going to call it pink. Pink Terran. This next match going to be taking place on Radion. This is a 4-player map with spawn locations in each corner. 2, 3, 4. We have a natural down a ramp just outside the main. Interesting little Zerg eggs here. These do not hatch, for any who don't already know that. They will stay morphing in this state. They can be used to wall in a little bit better. Probably not going to see much walling, though, as there are no Zerg. Being that it is a PvT, most we are likely see is some photon cannons, possibly from Earob. But anyway, we've got the natural just down the ramp outside of the main, and a third just beyond that. The fourth base here, in the center, there's only 2 fourth bases. So both corners have to kind of fight over the central fourth base. So these two would likely fight over this one, and then obviously down here, this one and this one. But this fourth base is very defensible, all in all. Only 1 ramp to get up into here, but kind of exposed to aircraft because of this dead open space here. They could be easily harassed. You could fly in through the top here, come down, harass the mineral line, or even just fly across here. If you control this natural, it'd be easy to just come right through here and harass. But anyway, easily defendable on the ground, not so much on the air. I guess you could put some missile turrets or photon cannons up in here, but it is going to get in the way of some mining if you start getting too many there. All in all, though, fourth base, pretty defendable. 2 entryways into the third bases for both players. And I'm curious to see who's going to get the first spawn here, or a spawn peak. Looks like we have a scout going out for WolFix right now. Going to be going clockwise for now. And here we go. Earob's sending the scout out. I'm curious if we're going to see the same build order here. Looks like we have the Nexus outside the main here, so probably expansion at 12. I missed the exact timing, but I have to get, if I had to guess, it's going to be 12. Okay. So WolFix is going to be working to the top right, and it looks like Earob might be going top right as well. Definitely going to be going top right. So interesting choice on where to send that probe. I guess the thinking behind that is send it to the furthest location first. And because of that, he actually sees the SCV leaving from that direction. This is going to be a little tricky then for Earob, thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be the Terran base. Nope, gotcha. Sure isn't going to be. It looks like WolFix going to be working clockwise, going to find out that there's nothing here in the bottom right. And by process of elimination, going to arrive at the fact that Earob down here in the bottom left. Looks like we're not following the same build order as last time. We've got 2 gate right now for Earob. We're going to bring some zealots out. We've got the cybernetics core on the way, and possibly a wall here we might see going up here. Marines all on the move right now. Going to be denying the scout for Earob. So Earob going to be blind as to what tech WolFix going into here early in the game. SCV going to be making its way in. Gets vision of the natural. We've got 2 goons in production right now at this gateway. And it looks like WolFix isn't going to try to push the issue. Looks like he's going to be content with just scouting the natural for now. But we do have a little bit of an army. 4 Marines and a Vulture. More on the way. A lot of SCVs on the way right now. Wonder what shenanigans this is. I'll have to keep an eye on that and see what's going on there. Got a random supply depot going down there at the natural. There's only 1 Vulture here. So unless these SCVs are literally just here to get in the way, which it looks like that might be exactly what the plan is. Gonna be going for some early pressure here and using the SCVs to try to get in the way. But the Zealot does get back on top of the Marines here, and the Dragoons able to help out. They get a couple shots off, but the SCVs trap in the Dragoon. This is crazy. Okay, so we have a little bit of an SCV rush here. Absolutely wild play here from WolFix. Haven't seen this one before. 3 goons is all there is to defend against this right now. We've got 1 Vulture and 1 Marine here to do the damage. This first Dragoon getting pretty low. We've got 2 more in production right now, and the shield battery gets done here. That's going to put an end to this. So with the shield battery, they're going to be able to recharge the... Yeah, recharge the goons here, and there go the SCVs. So... Good try, all in all. What a weird early game pressure, though. I haven't seen anything like that before from him, so kind of fun to see that. Always interesting. We've got the robotics facility now going down, and going to be taking the CC here at the natural for WolFix. Marines in production, tank in production, and SCVs going. Got Dragoon attack range just about done now for Earob. Okay, what an interesting ploy there. WolFix didn't really fall behind in worker count. Still up 3 right now. But now we have the counterattack coming from Earob. 5 Dragoons are going to be targeting down the CC, able to knock down the SCV that was trying to construct it. And now we're going to have to pull the SCVs once again off the mineral lines to be able to defend against this. 2 tanks here doing a good job, though. SCVs get pulled to create some confusion on the front lines again. Going to be trying to trap in the goons, and they get a surround on one of them. Marine goes down. 1 tank down. We're down to 1 tank and 1 goon. This goon pretty banged up, though. Interesting defensive strategy right there. Pulling the SCVs off. Now down 2 SCVs, but only 3 population. Both players pretty well neck and neck now. Have an interesting wall here of a sort. 2 pylons, a shield battery, and a goon blocking the way here. It looks like we have a shuttle being warped in right now at the robotics facility. Mines being researched right now for the Vultures for WolFix. Observatory being warped in. And strangely enough, going to be warped in up here at the front side by the wall. Looks like we might be trying to take a 3rd here for Earob here pretty soon. I'm guessing when we reach 400, we're going to see this Nexus go down. Nope, not quite. Okay. So the shuttle gets done, an observer gets queued up, robotic support bay down, so it might be a Reaver play here. We'll have to check out and see what happens. Okay, so Nexus goes down, pylon goes up. As soon as this observer gets done, I'm curious if we're going to see a Reaver deployed here, or, well, warped in. Their push coming from WolFix, though. A lot of pressure. Trying to keep Earob on their side of the map right now. As of now, WolFix not aware of the third. But one tank goes down pretty quickly right there. So good targeting right there from Earob. Hasn't lost a goon yet with the shield battery there. This is going to give these Dragoons a lot more life than what they normally have. That one got real close to dying, though. Goodness gracious. So a couple of the goons pretty beat up. We've got this goon at 6 and 2. This one's got its shield, but it's only at 13 health. Now the observer is going to be here, so it is going to be able to spot these mines. And the last thing you want to do is have your own guys standing on a mine like what that tank did just a second ago. That could get pretty dangerous. We do have the Reavers. One just got done right now. We're going to load it up in the shuttle. Most definitely. Siege tank getting their siege mode. Just finished up here. These Reavers are going to be dropped here. I see our Zealots going to be dropped, rather, right on top. Okay. Looks like we're going to be dropping the Reaver up and down. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. A lot of goons got blown up right there. Let's take a look at WolFix's base here. Looks like we have the armory being constructed right now. Factories being done. And in preparation for the Reaver drop, we see mines being laid down now and turrets beginning construction here. And here we go. Here comes the Reaver and Zealots. So good job hiding the missile turret underneath the racks right there. That was definitely an interesting thing. But the Reaver is going to make its way into the main here. Drops an SCV before it gets picked up. We've got tanks now. Going to be trying to defend against this. Boom! Reaver drops into the tank. So good job with this Reaver drop, causing a lot of mining problems right now for WolFix. And now it's going to be dropped down here at the natural. And the first Scarab gets bugged out. Oh, second one makes good contact, though. 3 SCVs down with that shot. Next shot gets a Vulture. Looks like we're going to be just shuffling the SCVs back and forth right here. Another big Scarab shot. Looks like the SCV just going to be fighting this Zealot over here. Looks like we are down to just one Zealot right now. The Reaver pretty banged up right now. All in all. Might only see one more Scarab out of it before this comes to an end. And what this is doing, this is allowing Earob free time down to macro at their base right now. We don't see a whole lot going on right now. Not really a lot in production. There we go. 2 goons in production right now. 1 Zealot. The Reaver goes down finally. The Zealot really banged up right now. And I'm not sure this shuttle's going to be able to make it out of here. And the Goliath going to be running it down more than likely. Now we see a little bit of production going on for Earob. We've got another shuttle in production as they are aware that this shuttle's likely not going to make it out of here. Nope, there it goes. Drops the Zealot off, but it gets shelled down very quickly from the tank. Healthy third now for Earob. Doesn't seem to be too worried about any attack right now, as there are no photon cannons. Going up to 4 gateways. Got a Citadel of a Dune going down, and the Forge going down in the bottom. Earob looks like they're going to be satisfied with just parking a small army of goons and observers out here, just outside WolFix's natural. And I do see a probe moving across the battlefield right here. Going to be curious to see where he's going with that thing, what the plan is there. Okay, so WolFix trying to recover a little bit. Throws a scan down. Let's see if we can see where that went. Looks like it went onto the natural. Okay, looks like the Vultures were going to be trying to harass this base, but they can't get in there. So instead, they're just going to throw some mines down here. WolFix goes ahead and scans that third, just to take a look and see what's in there. And that probe just kind of hanging out here in the top right now. Goons exploring around the battlefield. Vultures making their way around too. Seeing what's going on. There we go. There we go. Having a photon cannon finally put down. We got another probe down here in the bottom right. WolFix is going to be checking these. These probes are going to get killed by these vultures. No doubt about it. There's number 1. 2 is going to go down here. And this is going to cancel this Nexus. Okay. A lot in production right now for Earob. We've got Zealot movement speed, ground weapons, another shuttle being warped in, the Nexus in the top right, which is going to get canceled, more than likely, and Templar Archives. Meanwhile, for WolFix, 3 vultures being constructed and 2 tanks. We've got more factories. Give me all the factories, WolFix says. Going up to 6 back now, building a CC inside the main to float out to the 3rd. And here we go with some of the airplay. Loaded up with 4 Zealots and 2 Reavers right now. These are going to be flying in here. We got a missile turret out here. Early warning system. 1 shuttle goes down. So only 3 of the Zealots get dropped in here, though. But oh no, the Scarab shots get a little bugged out there on the command center. I don't know if that was purposeful by WolFix, if he somehow microed the SCVs to cause that to happen or not. But I don't know. That's kind of crazy. All in all, though, that did not really do that much damage. Earob right now ahead in worker count, 61 to WolFix's 49. Population's pretty well similar. And looks like, in the end, the top right did get denied here by the single vulture. Setting up a little bit of a siege tank line now here, just outside the natural for WolFix. A lot of goons going to be building up here, though. They do have an observer on top of them. Make that 2. So though there are a few vultures out and about on the battlefield, for the most part, WolFix right now kind of trapped in their base. A lot being researched right now for Earob. We've got Storm, ground weapons just about done, High Templars on the way. Meanwhile, vehicle weapon upgrades, this is going to get him up to a 1 on those. We've got Charon boosters for the Goliath missile range, for the shuttle play that we keep seeing. And it looks like WolFix is going to be going for a mech build, very similar to what we saw in the first matchup between these 2 guys. Well, players. I don't know if they're guys or girls. Well, I should. WolFix is a guy. I've seen his. If you guys haven't seen WolFix's YouTube, he's got a YouTube out there. He does educational content. Definitely check that out. Very informative. Really cool guy. Earob, on the other hand, I have no idea. Never met him, never seen him, never heard him. So, players they are. Looks like we have a scan going down here. On top of the Goon army. Looks like we're going to be dropping this Reaver here. Okay. So we got a DT now in the mix. And a High Templar. And only 1 Goliath as of now? Oh, there they are. Okay, there were more. I was gonna say, I'm kind of surprised by that. When we see the Goliath missile range being researched, I would assume that we would see more Goliaths. But yet, they were there. Just hiding out. Okay, here we go. Gonna be a mech push here with vultures out in front. Storm goes down on a couple back here in the back. Almost gets a tank, but doesn't quite get that done. And now, here we go. The siege tank's gonna be forming a line. What they do. This is what they do. Now that this is secured, we're gonna be floating the CC down here to try to get the 3rd. Starport being built right now. I actually have no idea where that's being built at. Somewhere up here where I can't see? No? Nope. Nope. It's probably right in front of me. Ah, here it is. Of course. Right in front of me, just like I thought. So, Starport finally being constructed right now. I'm curious if we're going to see a Valkyries maybe come out to help push back these shuttles, or maybe a few Wraiths. Or maybe even a Science Vessel. But when Terran players get to be like this, with this line right here with vultures and tanks, that starts to get hard to push through. So this is going to be a little bit difficult for Earob to just kind of walk up here. Looks like we're going to be microing this vulture here. Gets the probe once again. Denies the expansion out here. Now we're going to be trying for this one. We've got a single Zealot out here. And a vulture up top. These guys might have already skirmished right here, and I missed that. This vulture's pretty low health. This one does get dropped up here in the top. And now the shuttles are going to be coming across the top here. We've got 3 High Templars and 5 Zealots total between the 2 of these. Looks like we dropped some High Templars down. And they're going to be trying to get some big storms right there. They do. Wow. Big storms right there. Drop a lot of SCVs. And after they're dealt with, the High Templar is going to be trying to form into the Archon, but it is going to get busted down before it gets done. Now the mineral lines here in the base, the primary of WolFix, not looking too hot. Starting to get a little low here. Earob doing a really good job putting a lot of pressure on the base of WolFix here with these drops. Where are all these scans going? My goodness, boy. Okay. 2 into the main here. And maybe 1 out here on the natural, where the armies normally prep up. Looks like WolFix definitely has the advantage of sheer army value right now, just from what I'm seeing. But the harassment from Earob is doing work. And you can see just how concerned WolFix has to be with it from the amount of missile turrets that we see just all over the battlefield. I mean, look at this. They're strewn all the way out here into the open. We've got missile turrets, missile turrets, missile turrets, missile turrets all over the place right now. These drops causing him a lot of problems and headaches right now. I'm kind of surprised we don't see more down here, as a matter of fact. 1 got destroyed. Okay, that makes a little sense. Looks like these vultures going to be checking this top right base once again. Only going to meet this zealot. And that is crazy that zealot, 1 zealot almost just cleared all 3 vultures. That's absolutely wild. Zealots are cracked. Okay. Looks like Earob going to be going for the Arbiter now. So I'm curious. We will likely see an attempt, at least, at some recall. Vehicle weapons and ground and vehicle plating being researched right now for WolFix. We got 3 vultures and 3 tanks in production. 7 zealots being warped in right now. And ground weapons being researched here. Looks like the tanks are at 1-1 right now. The goons only at +1 to their damage. So all mechs sitting at 1-1s. Meanwhile, we have tier 1 weapons for both melee and ranged right now for Earob. Very curious. Okay. Got a couple of... We got an Archon on the battlefield. Love to see the Archons. What a cool looking color, too, for these guys. Okay. WolFix starting to expand a little bit on the battlefield now. Looking to gain some more traction. Taking ground with all these tanks. And a good mix here of Goliaths here. Oh my gosh. The tanks absolutely explode their own Goliaths right there. My goodness, what a big number of tanks here. Yeah, that's going to force Earob to back up. The tanks did bust down a lot of their own Goliaths right there. We've only got 1 Goliath in the mix right now. So this army would be weak to air attacks, but there's really not a whole lot in the Protoss arsenal to deal with this amount of tanks from the air. We've seen the effects of what carriers do in the last couple matchups here within this tournament. The carriers can deal with tanks, but they don't seem like they have a very high damage output. All in all, it would take quite a while to clean this up, and I'm afraid by the time carriers would be able to take care of this, the damage would already be done. And now we've got the tanks and the vultures on the move, and they're just constantly harassing these dragoons right now. Vultures, all in all, don't really deal that much damage to the dragoons. We've seen just how many times this thing's had to shoot it just to kill one. But they do a very good job of causing chaos and pushing back the dragoon force, allowing the tanks to just kind of roll in back here and set up shop. And that's exactly what we're about to see here. And this third right here definitely going to go down for Earob. There's nothing they can do about that. And all of a sudden, Earob kind of looking like they're backed into a corner a little bit. There's no Protoss army, so to speak. Yeah, and there it is. Bro, GG, he says. Good game right there from both players. Wow. Good harassment there from Earob, though. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing another matchup between these two players. Earob giving WolFix a good run for his money right there. In the end, though, WolFix going to take a 2-0 victory over Earob. WolFix going to be advancing into round 3. Earob drops down into the loser's bracket of losers round 3, where they still have a chance to fight their way back up. So the way this is going to work is the winner bracket will fight all the way to the top, and then once you lose one time in a matchup, you drop down into the loser's bracket, but you're not completely out. You have to lose 2 matchups to be completely out. Once you drop down into the loser's bracket, you do have a chance to work your way all the way back up, back to the grand finals. So Earob not out of it yet. There is a chance we could see this matchup again. That is it for this one, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, check out the next video. Or if you want to take part in one of these tournaments or just become a member of our community, you can always join us in StarCraft Underground. Link will be in the description. Until then, take it easy.